For some, suffering is the crucible where real faith is born. For others, suffering is where believing ends.
I think I learnt about sanctity when I went to Ethiopia in 84, 85. And I saw people whose lives are profoundly religious, who never take a breath without consecrating it to God or Our Lady or someone, for whom every day has a place on the liturgical calendar. To see these people coping with the huge humiliation of famine, because I think people who are not farmers don't realize that famine is the ultimate failure for a farmer. It's an utter humiliation and bestialization. But these people, under this pressure, behaved like angels. I mean, to me, they really were, you know, garbed in celestial light. It's hard to think of it without rage against God, you see, because they were his fools. I mean, that's what happened there. Those people followed their religious ritual into the worst kind of squalor you can imagine, so that the bodies were always beautifully washed. They were beautifully clad in the people's last white cotton garments, and they were laid in their shelf tombs as if they were precious things to rise again on the last day. And if you don't believe that there's a last day, or that they'll rise, or that there's any recompense for these lives of unremitting self-denial, then you cannot, I mean, if God exists, I'm against him.
This is what he would say to someone whose experience of suffering has become an obsessive question. You know, he would say, no, I have no consolation. My urge is, don't be afraid, continue questioning. Take the question as far as it goes. Let it become a cry. Let it become a cry. If it is a cry of hatred, a cry of rebellion, a cry of rejection, then say that cry. Say it, because you are this step away from faith. For the Pope, this is not the last moment in the lives of those victims. United with Christ, those will rise again. Life will be stronger than death. This is for the Pope as a conviction as certain as that the fact that the sun will rise tomorrow.
I had faith as a child and lost it in a flash. It happened so quickly. I had no idea what I'd lost.
Whenever I go into a church, and if it's an empty church, right out would come this aching sound of this one song that I sang when I was little, and it was, O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel will come to thee, O Israel. Now, I learned it when I was little. I don't think I had an idea of what it was about. You hear it very rarely, but at Christmas time I always hear it in the back of my mind. And sometimes when I'm really lost, I'll sing it in a hallway or in an elevator or God knows where, in a shower. And it comes back to me as a sort of general song of aching yearning. Come back to me is what it sounds like to me. Come and take care of me. To me, it's everything about being taken care of. It's about either having faith or having your father back in your life, having some all-consuming power bigger than you to say it's all right, you can make it through whatever it is that you're trying to make it through. And that's the song I always hear.
O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely earth.
He has placed faith at the center of the agenda. In the end, though, he knows that all he has been sent to do is to put the issue before us, to make the proposal with the urgency of every fiber of his being. Believe, do not be afraid to believe, his very first words as a pope. Do not be afraid. It will take nothing from you. But in the end, it can only be a proposal. The greatness and the mystery is our freedom.